Welcome back to the David Pakman Show. I'm producer Pat Ford filling in for David today. There are so many contested races in November. Democrats are competitive in so many different places, and I wanted to go through the Senate map with you all today and really give you all a roadmap for how we're going to hopefully take back the Senate once it's all said and done. But I think it can get confusing because there's so many races, understanding like where we absolutely have to win, where we can afford to lose and still potentially win the majority overall. So I wanted to break this all down with you today. To gain control of the Senate, Democrats need a net gain of 4 seats in order to take the 51 seat threshold, which they would need. A 50-50 tie isn't enough, of course, because J.D. Vance is still going to be the vice president, so he can break up a tie. So we need 51 seats. Let's go through the key races, starting with the ones where Democrats absolutely must defend. If they don't defend here, well, then we're not going to have any chance whatsoever when it comes to winning the Senate. You absolutely need to win in New Hampshire, and you absolutely need to win in Minnesota. They really shouldn't be difficult, though. Democrats have over a 90% chance of winning in those races. Then we get into territory where there's less certainty, but we almost certainly need to hold our own here if we're going to get 51 seats. There is Georgia, where John Ossoff, I told you before, is running against Mike Collins, and he is destroying Collins, at least as of now, looking at the polling. There's this one poll that shows him with a 9-point advantage. He is a Democrat running in Georgia, but he is still winning there decisively right now. And actually, the prediction markets give him a 92% chance of controlling his seat, which is really quite remarkable. Then we get to Michigan, which is an open seat because Gary Peters is retiring. We had Abdul Al-Sayed win the primary there last week, so he's going to be going up against Mike Rogers, and it's one where Democrats really should win there in order to defend that seat to set us up well, but the chances Democrats win is only at 55% right now, which isn't as comfortable as I'd like to see it. So in all of those races, we really have to consider them must-wins because that would be us holding the line if we're able to win all of those places. Then we have to start looking at pickups. Only then can we start to think, how can we pick up 4 additional seats so that we would actually have control of the Senate? So the most obvious place and the most likely place for Democrats for us to win is North Carolina, where Tom Tillis, we know, is retiring. He is going to likely get replaced by the Democrat Roy Cooper, and Roy Cooper is going up against Michael Whatley, who's the former RNC chair. The polling shows that Cooper is up something like 11 points, and according to the prediction markets, it's a 91% chance that Democrats flip the seat. So North Carolina looks like an easy option. Then we have Maine, of course. Susan Collins running for re-election there against Troy Jackson. Troy Jackson recently replaced Graham Plattner as the nominee, and we'll see if Troy Jackson's finally going to be the Democratic candidate who's able to unseat Susan Collins. It looks like it's going to be a close one there. Democrats are favorited, 64-65% favorited according to the betting odds right now, but it's clearly not a surefire thing. Okay, so to recap again, you start by defending all of the places where Democrats currently have seats, including Michigan, which at this point seems like it'll be the toughest to do. Then you need 4 more pickups. We have North Carolina, which seems like the easiest option and a likely option, and then also Maine, which is maybe going to happen, but maybe not. So we will, for the sake of argument, say that we are able to pick up Maine, and then you still need 2 more. That's the thing. Still looking for 2 more. Where can Democrats look? Well, how about Ohio, where they're having a special election? Incumbent John Husted is going up against former 3-term Democratic Senator Sherrod Brown. And Sherrod Brown, of course, has a lot of blue-collar appeal. It's basically a toss-up right now, 50-50. So that's potentially the 3rd pickup opportunity. Then we have Alaska, where Dan Sullivan is the incumbent there running for re-election, but they have this ranked choice voting system, and Mary Peltola is the Democratic nominee there, so she likely is going to give Dan Sullivan a run for his money, and hopefully that would be enough. If Democrats are able to go down that path, defend everything, pick up North Carolina, Maine, Ohio, and Alaska, that would be enough to give them a majority in the United States Senate. But of course, anything could go wrong, right? They probably won't get that clean sweep of all the states that I've mentioned so far. So let's start looking at some alternatives. What would be the next possible domino to fall? Well, we have Texas, right, where James Tallarico is actually the slight favorite right now, believe it or not, over Ken Paxton. He's coming out ahead of some of the polls, but there's also the possibility that he'll follow the footsteps of other Democrats in Texas who look really strong in the summer before the election, but then end up losing to the Republican. So there's the possibility that Tallarico pulls it off there, but we also may get upset there yet again by Texas. So if Democrats can't pick up Texas, well, maybe there's Iowa because Joni Ernst is retiring. Ashley Hinson, the Republican, is favored, but only slightly over the Democrat Josh Turek. So that's another potential pickup. There's also maybe the outside chance we could get Nebraska or Kansas or even Florida, but I don't think that's going to happen. That's pretty much Hail Mary territory. Odds have the Senate pretty much right now at 50-50, and seeing this breakdown combined with Trump's deep unpopularity, I think that's a pretty sensible assessment because Democrats do need to pick up a lot of seats, including in places that aren't really familiar territory with us. Like we're talking about Ohio and Alaska here as part of this roadmap. North Carolina seems like we'll be able to get it done, but it's not the bluest of blue states either. So hopefully we can pull it off, and that I think is the roadmap for being able to do it. But it's going to be a very consequential midterm elections. We'll see just how many seats we're able to pick up.
Thanks for watching. Check out another one of our videos and make sure to subscribe so YouTube keeps our content in your feed. And if you prefer audio, subscribe to the podcast on Spotify or Apple.